Hello, Miami, and welcome to a 305 Sports Now YouTube edition. I am your host, Will, and I'm sure you've heard the news. All right. It's also apparent in my thumbnail. The turnover chain is no longer in existence. Okay. It was just retired by head coach Mario Cristobal. If we all remember the chain as Canes fans, right, it appeared in 2017 under Mark Richt's second season, Manny Diaz's second season as D coordinator. All right. And it was a product of Manny Diaz, Mike Rumpt, AJ Machado, and also the jeweler AJ Machado, and also Vince Wilfork, who helped finance the chain for the kids. The chain was an absolute sensation. All right, it was a phenomenon. It actually, in many cases, was a huge motivator for the kids. When the turnover chain came out in 2017, the turnover rate went up for the Miami Hurricanes in terms of sacks, fumbles, and interceptions as well. Sack fumbles being a part of the process. So the turnover chain was a national phenomenon. Okay, it even sparked copycats in a different variety, as pretty much Florida State had the turnover bag, which looked kind of silly. All right, Georgia had the shoulder pads, and the great and serious Nick Saban allowed his team to portray and have a championship turnover belt. So the chain itself was a national phenomenon, right, for all of college football. Okay, and it was fun. Okay, it was fun. As I mentioned earlier, it did lead to a lot of turnovers, for at least, for the goal of getting it. It did lead to a lot of turnovers. It was a motivator also in recruiting as far as it goes, as many potential recruits that came into Green Tree over at wore a lot of wore the chain, wore the gear, and so on of the Cuban link, etc. So it was a huge part of the Hurricane culture. It was a huge part of the component that was Manny Diaz's tenure as D coordinator and then also as head coach. But Mario Cristobal comes in, new sheriff in town, and guess what? The turnover chain is absolutely gone. All right, he officially retired the chain at the ACC conference meeting. All right, listing that is not a part of our culture, and they are going to move on from that turnover prop. All right, but let's also be honest. I think for the moment Mario Cristobal came in, okay, he was going to get rid of the chain regardless. It had been rumored and leaked out that when meeting with recruits, okay, offensive line coach Alex Mirabal told some of the recruits there'll be no more chains under this regime. All right, we're here to win football games, not put on jewelry. Okay, so that's some of the things that did occur, earlier on, that many of us felt the chain would officially be retired, and it officially was retired by Coach Cristobal. All right, so one of the few things about the chain itself is that the chain, from my perspective, I'm gonna be very honest with all of you out there. I loved the chain when it first came out. All right, when I would go to Canes games and stuff like that with my wife and so on, I would always yell, "We need a chain! We need a chain! We need a chain!" Because we always knew that something big was about to happen if the Miami Hurricanes were about to break out that chain, meaning there was a turnover, an interception, a fumble recovery, a fumble return for a touchdown, or a interception return for a touchdown. Okay, that was something that we knew had happened. All right, and that's why we knew and that's what we enjoyed about having the chain being out and so on. But it was fine. All right, and I've had this conversation with friends of mine who are a little bit older that thought the chain was ridiculous. All right, but it was fine, when they were 10-0. Okay, when they were 10-0 and they had that season with Jaquan Johnson, Shedrick Redwine, Jonathan Garvin. Okay, when they had Norton as stuff as a defensive tackle. Why? Because they were winning football games, right? When they went 10-3, they were winning football games. The year after that, although the Canes did finish a bit more pedestrian at 7-6. Miami was on top of the league, on top of the NCAA in terms of turnovers. The defense was not the problem. The main problem during that period was the offense, right? Which ended up being Mark Richt's last year. Then you have Manny Diaz's first year, the loss to FIU. Manny Diaz, his second year, they did a little bit better record-wise, but lost crucial games to Clemson. All right. Lost a horrific game that would have gotten them to Coastal if they would have beat North Carolina, where they were run over. All right. And they lost their bowl game to OSU. Then you go to this year, although some credit to Manny Diaz would be, finding a guy like Tyler Van Dyke, and the wonderful receivers like Romello Brinson and so on that we have. The team still finished 7-5 and 5-3 in the ACC. That's why Manny Diaz is gone. All right. That's why Manny Diaz is gone and Mario Cristobal is in. Mario Cristobal is here to change the culture completely. So any remnants of the Richt/Diaz era is gone. All right. It needs to be gone. The team needs a fresh start. All right. And the team itself, is going to win football games because of Cristobal's recruiting, his attention to detail, and the coaching staff that he's put together to lead, this amazing football team that we will have in the future. Listen, I love the chain early on. I'm not going to be a hypocrite about this, but let's face it, the chain got stale. And then the addition of the touchdown rings just got silly. All right. It was an embarrassment. The opening game last year against Alabama when the Canes are down 20 points. All right. And because of Chance Williams' sack fumble of Bryce Young, they were down 20 points late in the game and they broke out that chain. It looks silly. It looks more individualistic. All right. It doesn't look like a team first mentality. And football is the ultimate team sport. Yes, there are individual accolades. Okay. There are, sacks, there's turnovers, there's touchdown passes, there's interceptions, there's receptions, there's yards after catch, there's touchdown receptions and rushing titles we will go to. But the bottom line is that football in the end is a team sport. None of that happens without the guy next to you. All right. It's the ultimate team sport. The quarterback is the most important player on the team, but he needs his line. All right. And the line needs its quarterback. All right. And then the line needs its running backs to find the hole. And let's go into defense. All right. The linebackers are tackling machines, but they need their D linemen. All right. And those D linemen need those linebackers to make those tackles. All right. And the secondary needs to do its part in protecting the backfield. Okay. So that's the defensive backfield. So that's the bottom line is what I'm trying to say here is that in the end, no one will remember the chain or care about the chain if we're winning ACC conference titles and winning national championships and constantly making appearances, in the college football playoffs. All right. So that's the main goal for Coach Diaz, not props, wins. And the only goal that he wants his kids wearing are championship rings. And that's how this team is going to be governed for the next few years under Coach Cristobal. All right. Well, that's it for me. Right. That's it for me. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Please remember to hit the like and subscribe button. Okay. To 305 Sports Now bonus interviews. All right. Everybody, hope you have a wonderful day. All right. God bless. See you soon and go Canes.